Now it started. Hi.
Hey. Oh, I had something to. Oh, I haven't even told you this. So I had a little, like I've told people, I have this like fitness nutrition trainer, and there's other people that are part of this group as well. So we had like a little Zoom meeting, the 4 of us, the trainer and then 2 other women. And this one woman's like, because he's like, okay, any issues? And this one woman's like, well, I got a problem where I like to eat at night, like, you know? And I'm like, oh, okay. And she's like, but like sometimes I wake up in my sleep and eat.
Oh my gosh.
I know. And I was like, I freaked out. I was like, oh my God, I do too. And she's like, I'm like, she's like, sometimes I remember eating the stuff, sometimes I don't. I'm like, you're a sleep eater.
That's so funny. I thought you were going to say this woman stood up and then she said, and my name is Jenna and I have a confession.
No. And yeah, but it was like exactly the same. And,
wow.
You know, and she was like, I just don't want to do that anymore. And I was like, honestly, I think it's just, you have to like not go to bed on an empty stomach.
Yes.
You know, that's, I think, the main thing. Just don't go to bed on an empty stomach.
I think it has to do with the same thing where we all snack in the evening, right? Everyone says, whether you're a weed smoker or not, everyone likes to snack at nighttime.
Yeah, but I don't. Like when I'm awake, I don't.
Oh, see, but then you do it in your sleep. That's what I'm trying to say.
My trainer also made a good point. He said it could also be because you're eating too early before bed.
So you should like dinner too early.
Yeah. And you know how I eat dinner at like 5 p.m.
Yeah. Well,
like clockwork, literally. No, except for on Monday nights when you come over.
Well, maybe you should. Well, then our dinner's just liquid usually, but
I always make sure we eat something.
You do. That's not true. Since quarantine ended, I guess, Jenna's been like cook extraordinaire. And if you follow us on Instagram, you see the disgusting close-ups we take every Monday because they just don't look nice.
Jesse makes me look like a horrible
delicious,
chef.
I promise you. But anyway, this nighttime eating thing, I think it has to do with like the hunter-gatherer in us. So like you'd hunt all day. Listen, this is what dogs, you hunt all day and then you eat your kill at night. And I think there's something with that.
Are you saying that like
I have no scientific evidence.
Perusing the aisles at Walmart is your hunting in the day?
That's right.
And you're just you're hunting, you're gathering, and then at home you go and binge.
Yeah, because I'll tell you, I can go all day without eating. You'd think I was Kate Moss. But nighttime comes and forget it.
Why? What do you do at night that could be maybe making you hungry?
A little smoke and a bang. Wine too makes you get the munchies, I find.
Well, that's when I sleep eat. It's usually if I go to bed super stoned and I go to bed hungry, or if I go to bed hungry and drunk.
Or hungry, drunk, and stoned.
Right.
Then it's just forget it.
Well, let's be honest. It's usually both combined. Well, if there's wine involved, you know. Anyways, I make myself sound like such a lush. But I just felt such a connection with this stranger being like, I'm a sleep eater too. I understand the struggle.
That's so crazy. I'd never heard of that before I met you.
Right?
Never.
If there's other sleep eaters out there, please let us know, because this might be a thing that we can all help each other with.
Yeah. Or if you're like a doctor that knows why this is a thing, we'd love to talk to you.
Right. Another trick too I learned today is that sometimes when you're snacky at night, it's not because you're hungry, it's actually because you're thirsty.
Oh yeah, I've heard that. You're
dehydrated. But when I was prepping for that.
Oh no, that was before.
Sorry, Jesse's got this old ghetto computer we're using today for some odd reason, and I don't know why. But when I was prepping for that colonoscopy I had to get, and to beat the hunger that you feel when you can't eat 24 hours prior, I would just drink water, and it worked.
It did work.
It did work, because it's apparently the same trigger in your brain that goes off when you're hungry than when you're thirsty.
That reminds me of season 2 of Survivor, Australian Outback, the hot guy Colby. He was a cowboy, and he used to say to trick himself into not being hungry, he would chug water. Yeah. But it was to fill his stomach. But I wonder if what you just said makes more sense.
Right.
It wasn't about your stomach having something in it. It's that you're satisfied.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know.
It's an oral fixation thing.
Ooh, oral.
Oh, geez.
I love oral. And you know what? Hey boys, I'm back.
Where did that come from?
Because I don't think it gets enough credit on these, at least with gays, it's all right to top or bottom. And I'm like, there's so much more things you can do.
I don't know where this came from.
You said oral fixation.
I know, but like we weren't going down this where we're going to do a weird news headline, and I was about to go right into it. But then Jesse just has to sidetrack.
Well,
I just love oral.
I do.
Love it. Are you talking about receiving or giving or both?
Both, but I like giving a lot. I do. I'm a sicko.
What?
I hope my mom's not listening again.
Do you have different intentions with this podcast to try to create an entertaining podcast? Is your whole intention to make this your giant dating profile?
Oh my God. I can't believe I forgot to tell you about this. Kind of, yes, because I had this idea for a great reality show, The Bachelor, but for gay guys, but there's a twist. The guys that are like the contestants all have to live in a house separated into like tops and bottoms. And right as I just said, anal's not everything. But anyway, the house is separated into tops and bottoms, and you have to do challenges to like get to meet each other.
See, the problem is I think that a house full of gay men that are there to hook up, period,
Yeah.
are just going to hook up with each
them.
other. Like, they're going to say, fuck the game. I don't even care. Like, let's just make out.
But great TV.
So they all have to be separated individually in their own little hut.
Perfect for COVID. I think I'm onto something. Nobody steal this idea. I have to think it through more, but I think there might be something there.
Contact Out TV.
And that's why you separate the tops and the bottoms. So yeah, sure, they'll make out.
But isn't that like perpetuating stereotypes and like kind of what the gay male community is trying to get away from?
You're
like
right.
being typecasted, you know?
Yeah. And like everybody always assumes I'm a bottom, but I can do both. Thank you.
Right.
There's more for my dating profile.
So you're going to be cutting the tape from this recording session so you can make yourself just one giant dating reel.
Likes, dislikes.
I love oral.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Okay, are we ready to begin?
Yes.
You act like you're going to play.
Oh yeah, sorry. Don't say oral fixation again and I'll be okay.
Apparently I can't say the word oral at all. All right, so, okay, I would consider that we are brutally honest towards each other.
Apparently, and with our listeners.
Right. But you know how a lot of people will say that about a friendship? They'll be like, oh my gosh, I love our friendship. We're just like totally brutally honest.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's like, if there was a booger in your nose, I still wouldn't tell you.
Well, we would.
Right.
But normal.
Because I consider us the definition of brutally honest.
Yeah.
However, there are some people that say their friendship, they're brutally honest, but you know they're not.
Can I stop you there and ask you a question then about our friendship? Because,
Uh-oh.
you know, no. No, we're not, it's not that deep. But you know how, like, part of our shtick is, like, we tease each other, like, publicly? So does that make it easier to tell somebody something negative about themselves if I had a booger or something ugly on my face? Because you tease me all the time anyway. But if you had a friendship where you're really respectful and polite to each other, maybe it would be harder.
I don't think I have very many friendships like that.
Because that's not a real friendship, is it?
No.
Yeah.
No, that is just like a friend, you know, like
a work friend.
I have definitely told my friends on numerous occasions, like, hey, like, you need to get your shit together. What you're doing right now isn't good for you. It's not healthy. And in turn, they have said the same fucking shit to me.
Yeah.
You know, like, if you were to start getting fat, I would tell you, hey, like, is everything okay? You're gaining a lot of weight.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't say that to me, but hey,
no.
You know, we spent some time apart there for a little bit.
I guess that's what it was.
But the reason I ask you this is because, you know, the book Eat, Pray, Love?
Mm-hmm.
There was a movie too. Well, the author of that said that you cannot be brutally honest with someone unless they answer all 4 of these questions, yes.
Oh, there's a checklist.
It's a test.
Okay.
So we're kicking things off with a test. Woohoo! All right. So here's question number 1. Do I trust the person's taste and judgment? Well, your taste, are we talking clothes, hair? Because there's been times where I would not trust you with my wardrobe.
Me, but you would judge my taste in people.
Yeah.
So it depends what you're talking about.
And you know, sometimes I think your judgment might be a little spotty in certain areas.
Like, it depends on wine, or we disagree on hot guys too.
Right.
Because I like them a little trashy.
Do you trust my taste and judgment?
Yeah.
Okay, so yes is. I feel like that's just not a yes or no question, but you have to answer.
No, but
yes.
it depends on the topic. Totally.
Okay. Do they understand what I'm trying to do? Because if they don't get it, their opinion probably doesn't really matter. So is that like get what you're trying to do with your life?
Or whatever the situation is.
Right.
So let me ask you this. You may have some friendships that you say you're brutally honest with each other, but only one of you can take it. So we know some people like this, I'm not naming names, where they can dish it, but if you give it back to them, they get very defensive.
Right.
And so that's...
But I think about being that close to someone that you can be brutally honest is that you know how to deal with that person. You know how to feed them that criticism or that advice without
setting them
putting
off,
them in defense mode.
Okay.
You know, like the way I would approach you would have been a lot different than I would have approached the other people that we had worked with.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do they genuinely want me to succeed? Hell yeah, I want you to be rich because then in turn I get to benefit from that.
Yeah.
Call it selfish, but it's true. Have really rich friends with lots of cottages and you never have to buy one of your own.
It's so true. And that's it's absolutely the cottage thing. But it also took me many years to not be like jealous of other guys I'd see that get acting jobs and stuff.
Right.
But then you realize, what is that Chelsea Handler quote? Blowing out someone else's candle doesn't make yours any brighter.
Right. I also think when it comes to like acting, that's extremely competitive as well. So it's really hard.
It's a different
But when you see, you know, a friend like, you know, me, I'm in an age where I'd love to be married and have a house and a kid already, you know, and I'm not. Some women are spiteful towards their friends that are doing that. And to me, I love it because I'm like, you are creating your family. We're best friends. I'll always be a part of your family. So now it's like, I get a new little family.
And if it's not your friend, then it's going to be some stranger you don't know having the family. So why not be your friend?
Right.
You know, this just reminded me of a conversation I had with my mom when we were all little kids. You know, there's 4 kids in my family. One of my aunts very tragically had so many miscarriages after miscarriage. She couldn't get pregnant. So when my mom had my younger sister, Justine, this aunt wouldn't even talk to her, wouldn't look at Justine. We'd go over for Christmas. She wouldn't look at Justine, wouldn't talk to my mom. And it really hurt my mom. But my mom, you know, she's such a sweetheart. She's like, I understood. And so I didn't hold it against her.
Right.
Eventually she came around and apologized and said, look, it was just really hard for me.
It's a me thing, not a you thing.
But exactly, right? Yeah. Some people just can't deal with it.
Well, jealousy is really wicked, right? And I find that like when it is something like a sibling or, you know, it is easy to become jealous of what they have.
Yeah.
But for me with friendships, it's like, no, girl, I want you to fucking thrive.
Yeah.
You know?
You're right.
There's no competition between me and my friends. We all have selected very different life paths. It's all about like lifting each other up now. Maybe that's why our relationships have lasted for 20 plus years. Me and most of my friends.
Yeah, not boyfriends. That's a different episode. Oh, speaking of our episodes. Oh, sorry, I'm interrupting you.
Okay, that's okay.
Well, I was going to say Kirstie Alley's in the news. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Our old pal, because she's defending Trump. And now all these celebrities are like ganging up on her. I'm like, oh, good thing we interviewed her at the beginning of quarantine.
We should push out that interview again. Maybe it'll get picked up.
Should we have her back on to talk about why she likes Trump?
I don't know if I want to handle that one. I don't know if I've got a head-to-head politics with a Scientologist.
or against the Trump supporters, true. See, this is why you're the brains, Jenna.
Right? Here's the last one. So far, like 3 yeses for our friendship.
So do a quick recap because I already forgot.
So number 1 is, do I trust the person's taste and judgment? Number 2, do they understand what I'm trying to do? Number 3, do they genuinely want me to succeed? And the last one they have to answer yes to before you can be brutally honest with them is, are they capable of delivering the truth in a sensitive and compassionate way?
Yeah. Okay. No, I'm not thinking of you. I'm thinking.
Well, I'm trying to think. Have I ever had to give you a hard truth?
Well, yes, sometimes.
So much easier when you do it over wine.
Yeah. No, I would say, you know what I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of my big breakup a couple years ago, and you were pretty brutally honest with me, but you did it in a gentle way.
I was, and I wasn't judgy-wudgy.
No, and you still are, honestly, about why he's talking to him.
She says the last one is the most important. So if you want to be brutally honest with someone, just make sure you ask yourself first, are they capable of delivering the truth in a sensitive and compassionate way? Ask yourself that question too. Because sometimes people think they're being gentle and stuff, but they're just assholes.
But there's also times when gentle doesn't work and people need a cold, hard, like if you get fat, right?
Right.
Not that there's anything wrong with that unless it affects your health.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Or someone's mood.
Right.
Well, you know, if it affects their life in any way. All right, on to sex.
Woo!
So remember, was it last week that we did an episode where you told me a story about this guy you know who was having sex with another guy? And
so will you marry me?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I saw a Reddit thread, and this is just quick here. This is weirdest things said during sex, and that's what it reminded me of. So I was like, we got to touch on this.
Okay.
So one guy says, the first time with this girl, not even dating yet, she finishes and screams out, put a baby in me.
After she finishes? Well, at the same time, hopefully.
No, she finishes. Well, while she's, I think, yeah, I would think so.
Oh, because that's what's happening when you're finishing. I get it.
Oh, my God. Yeah, right. How devastating.
How devastating for the guy. He's mid-climax and he hears that? Talk about pullout.
As she was powering down, she let out an uttering yabba dabba doo.
Okay, what does powering down mean?
I think that meant like she was like done orgasming and was just kind of like, yeah, but that would do.
Okay. All right.
Like in like ecstasy. Maybe she's got a thing for
Fred Flintstone.
Fred Flintstone.
Either that is powering down or like she was, you know, riding it on top and she was really getting into a deep squat or something.
No, I really do think deep squat.
Well, power down.
I really do think it was like after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
down. When you lie back into the sheets all like, oh, out of breath and sweaty.
Get me a towel.
God, it's been a long time since I've had sex. Anyways, right after we were done, he got on all fours and howled like a wolf. Woo!
I wouldn't mind that.
Really?
I like that.
Would you get on top of him and ride him like if he was wearing a saddle?
You know why I say I like it? Because it makes it feel like
masculine?
You did a good job. And masculine, but like that you did a good job. Like he's howling like a dog.
Would you feel the same way if he turned around and he was like, here's a treat for you. Good job, boy. Good boy.
Maybe I am a puppy.
Maybe you are a puppy. You like masks. You like all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
Okay. Someone said during sex, should we paint the kitchen blue or white? Guaranteed they've been married for a very long time.
I love that. That reminds me of the scene in Night at a Roxbury with Molly Shannon when she's riding Will Ferrell, I think it is, or Chris Kattan, probably Will Ferrell. And she's like, oh, we're going to go to IKEA.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get some new cupboards.
And the last one here is, this person says, my fiance is from England. One trying... Wait. My fiance is from England, and one time during the act, he said, "The British are coming." Please send in your funny things said during sex to Jesse and Jenna's messypodcast@gmail.com. You can DM us, please. We would love to come to like every episode with like 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah. Is that it from the list? Oh.
I'm feeling bad that like I haven't made a guy say something weird.
Oh my God.
It makes
the British are coming. You can just hear these accents.
Right? But, yeah. The British are coming.
Pinkies up, bitch.
Now, like, you know, like that does, like, I've never had a guy yell out anything weird during sex. Have you?
Oh God. Well, it's not weird, but I didn't like it. This was pre-quarantine. One of my very few hookups I've had. In the middle of it, he yelled out, "Yes, daddy." And I'm not a daddy.
I don't like people calling anyone daddy and mommy, sexual relations.
But I just felt, it made me feel old, and y'all know how I feel about that. Yes, daddy. And he was like this little shrimp. I only never saw him again, but
definitely won't after that either.
No.
He was this little shrimp of a guy.
I'm looking for a daddy, preferably sugar.
So I have not made a guy say daddy or like, I mean, I've been complimented many times, but I haven't made him say something so off the cuff because it was so incredible that he forgot what he was doing. You know?
Well, what's like an average compliment that Jenna?
Well, I don't want to like actually throw him out there because it says a lot about my body and like different parts of it. So anyways, we'll just move on from that. But the reason I was like, oh my gosh, when I read that, I was like, fuck, do I suck in the sack? Like, and then I saw this study.
And it's not so weird because the British are okay. So the next time either of us are having sex, if we ever do again, it's gonna be the British are coming. That's what we're gonna hear. You know that.
The British are coming.
That's the name of this episode too.
So I was kind of reassured that maybe I am still good in bed because women who smoke pot frequently have better sex.
Oh, really?
It's a study, and not just like occasional toking, like to have sex, but like smoking it like 6 times a day or a week.
I'm really interested to hear why, because I find for me, and I'm not a woman despite my best efforts, it lowers my libido. Like I'm not into it when I smoke. So I don't know what, I can't wait to hear this.
So this was a study in the journal called Sexual Medicine. And I don't know, it didn't say anything about the men and the effects of men with marijuana. This was just about women.
Okay.
And it said that women who frequently use pot had higher arousal, better orgasms, and more sexual satisfaction overall.
Wow.
So you know how there's CBD and THC in weed? CBD is the head stuff that doesn't really make you stoned, whereas THC is the psychoactive shit that makes you stoned. Well, CBD, as you've heard, because it's been, you've been able to get like CBD oils and all that kind of shit. So it reduces your inhibitions. It does make you relax, and it can help address issues of anxiety and pain. So one thing you might not know about women, but there is a large percentage of women that do have pain when they have sex. Like it's not as comfortable as you think it is.
Yeah.
So for women like that, it would be great. The THC also helps us to feel more pleasure because we're high.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well.
So like the women, COVID.
Or she just smoked a joint.
All of the above.
Hey, boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of women described feeling more sensations, feeling more psychological pleasure, which of course is going to increase our satisfaction, make us have orgasms more easily or more powerful orgasms. And it boosts our desires because we're like, when we have sex, it feels really good when we're stoned. Wow. So our desire to have it again is stronger. Whereas if you have boring, like, like starfish sex, you're not really like, hey, let's go ahead and do it again. It's kind of like,
Yeah. Wow, that's really interesting.
The majority of the women in this study were between the ages of 30 and 49, and they smoked weed more than 6 times a week. And that was usually through flower. So not taking pills, not taking edibles, smoking it.
Have you ever noticed a difference in your own?
It's been a long time since I've had sex, so I couldn't really go back in my mind.
Come on, even sex with yourself? Has there ever been a time where you smoked?
I'm always stoned.
Exactly. So she's always horny. I don't know.
These days.
I find this really interesting because here we're going to get so graphic. I find, okay. Have you ever had to maybe kind of go number 2 and then...
That's not my world.
And then what? You don't poo?
No, I don't. I'm a woman. We take special pills.
It's just glitter. Well, so if ever I have to kind of go, but like you think, oh, I can wait. I don't know. This sounded really gross.
I just pretend like that never happened?
No, but like my point is, if I've ever had to kind of go number 2 and then I smoke a joint, it makes it go away. And I've wondered if and I've Googled this, and it's the same thing as pasties, is it actually dries out your mucous membranes in your mouth.
So it dries out your butthole.
And so does it dry out your vagina? Good question. So that's why
I've never had problems in that department.
So, all right.
Well, and I'm a chronic cannabis user and have been for a long time. What would you say? A chronic masturbator?
Squirter. I thought she was gonna be like, it's just a rainforest down there.
No, but like, I'm maybe if you've gotten drunk, maybe you have some issue, but like really drunk.
Oh, like whiskey dick, but whiskey vagina.
Yeah.
Interesting. Right. Anyway, well, I love that study. I think that's great. Light up, girls.
You're going to love this too. So remember the days of like viruses, not about your sexual life. I'm talking about, and not about COVID. Didn't even realize that. I was
computer
viruses, right? Where like you couldn't look porn up without getting like a million bajills viruses on your computer.
That's because it was LimeWire or Napster and you had to actually download the porn, and they would take so long. And let me tell you, sometimes you'd be at your grandmother's house and you're like, come on,
you're looking up porn at your grandma's house?
Yeah, because they had high speed. We saw dial up. So I was such a perv. I would go visit grandma just to look at porn. I'm not kidding. I did.
Did you look at female porn, male porn, straight porn, gay porn?
Totally gay. And these were the early days. I didn't even know to clear my browser history. So I'm pretty sure my grandpa probably saw everything.
Oh,
he never mentioned it.
Good for him.
No.
Well, there's a list here of the most dangerous celebrities to search for online because apparently there's viruses are still a thing.
Well, every once in a while you see that on Facebook where somebody sends you a message and it says, I just found this link about you. You ever get that?
No.
Adriana X had it this week, and I almost clicked it. She's like, don't click it. So be careful out there. There's a Facebook one going around.
Okay. It's done by the McAfee, like the virus software that we had from way dial-up back in the days. So I'm just going to let's do like the 5 worst.
Okay.
Yeah, because the other are kind of boring.
Starting at number 5.
Is that Justin Timberlake.
Can't stop the feeling.
I am not a Justin Timberlake fan.
What?
I know. Does that make me a horrible female? There's just something so, to me, feminine about him.
It's like, the voice.
It's his voice.
We were talking about this last episode,
too. It just kills me.
That's why you don't like David from Too Hot to Handle.
Right. Exactly. Number 4 is Mariah Carey. So, Joey there, your ex might be in trouble. I'm sure he has lots of viruses on his computer, that little perv.
Not just his computer.
Right. Blake Lively is in at number 3.
These are kind of older, like old.
These are people that I think people are Googling often.
Are these older celebrities because they're like people our age and older will be dumb enough to Google them and click on the virus?
Yeah, but I feel like if you're going to be a hacker or a virus implanter, if that's what they're called, you are going to aim for like Kim Kardashian, like people that are like Drake, like people that are constantly being Googled.
Yeah.
Kylie Jenner, like all the Jenners.
But are those ones too high profile where maybe they have reverse McAfee?
Well,
to,
maybe,
like, catch
maybe. Number 2 is Sean Puffy Diddy Combs, whatever you want to call him.
Who can even remember his name to Google it?
Puff Daddy, right? Maybe that's why they're Googling him so much, though, also, too, is because they're like, which name is he going by these days? And then number 1, this is so weird. Number 1 is Anna Kendrick from Pitch Perfect, the actress.
Oh my God, the one that looks like Kristen Stewart a little bit.
Right, and she was on Twilight at the beginning of her career. Yeah, it's so super weird. Last year's number 1 was Alexis Bledel from Gilmore Girls, but that kind of made sense because Gilmore Girls got the reboot, right? Also was 2018 was Ruby Rose, you know, the lesbian that is so gorgeous.
From Prison.
From Orange is the New Black. And 2017 was Avril Lavigne.
Why'd you gotta go and make things so complicated?
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't say, first of all, I'm surprised our girl Britney's not on there because Free Britney this year is huge. But they're like, she's got enough to deal with. We don't I'm going to the beach. But does it say what happens when you Google these virus celebrities?
You're just more prone to get viruses. You're more likely to get a virus if you Google these and search for these celebrities.
Or is it people that Google them are more prone because, you know, they're weirdos Googling Justin Timberlake and Andrew Ketchum?
That's true. I had like another one here. I swear I had another little story. But I think we're done. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. Is it like, it's got to be still safe to Google porn. I mean, I haven't had viruses on my computer or phone lately.
You know, we're talking about porn and Justin Timberlake. I should show you this picture. Oh, we can't show it on here because it's porn, but it was phone's ringing.
That's a house phone for everyone listening right now. Don't ask.
I had a porn picture, it was fake, of Justin Timberlake jerking off in the backseat of a car. It was so hot. I said,
it was just a guy with ramen noodles taped to his head?
Probably. I'll find it for you.
All right. Well, again, if you have ever said something weird or someone has ever said something weird to you during sex, please let us know. Jesse and Jenna's messy podcast at gmail.com. Man, that phone's annoying.
The British are coming.
The British are coming. The British are coming.
Cheers. Cheerio.
Still ringing.